I hadn't truly rested in weeks. The silence in the house had grown heavier since the divorce, so loud it felt like it pressed against my chest each night. Sometimes I'd leave the TV on just to pretend someone else was breathing in the room with me. Liam wasn't supposed to be home. He said it was just a break from college. Finals stress, roommate drama, homesickness. But when I saw him walk through the door that afternoon, taller and broader than I remembered, something shifted. He hugged me longer than usual, and maybe it was nothing. Or maybe it was the way I held on, just a second too long. We slipped into a quiet rhythm. I cooked, he cleaned. We'd sit together after dinner, sometimes watching movies, sometimes just talking. I tried to hide how much I needed his presence, but he saw through me anyway. One night, while I stood at the sink, half lost in thought, Liam came up behind me and wrapped his arms around my waist. "You okay?" he asked, his voice barely above a whisper. I nodded, but the truth lodged itself in my throat. I wanted to lean back into him, for comfort, for connection, but I didn't. Then came the small moments that didn't feel so small. The way he complimented me when I dressed for work. The way he laughed when I hummed over the stove. The glass of wine he poured for me one night saying, "You deserve to relax more. You work too hard." I dismissed it as kindness, as a son's attempt to lift his mother's spirits, but a part of me kept replaying the way he looked at me when he said it. One night, I was half asleep when I heard the door creak open. I felt the mattress shift, a quiet presence beside me. I told myself I was dreaming, but I could feel warmth beside me, a hand hovering near mine, not touching, just close enough to feel. I lay there, heart racing, breath shallow, telling myself it was innocent. A ghost of the past, maybe, when he was little and afraid of storms. That's all. The next morning, he was already up, sipping coffee like nothing had happened. Maybe nothing had. Maybe I imagined it. But after that, everything felt slightly altered. The way his hand grazed my back when he passed me in the kitchen. The way his gaze lingered when he thought I wasn't looking. I started noticing things, started caring too much about how I looked when I was near him. I told myself I was lonely, that I was reading too much into it, that grief and solitude had scrambled my senses. Then one night, I drifted off early with a half-empty glass of wine beside me. When I stirred, the same quiet weight returned to the edge of the bed, a warm presence, steady breath, a hand again, brushing mine, just resting there, soft, unspoken. I didn't move, and I hated how I didn't want to. We didn't speak about it. But something passed between us in the silences. It wasn't cold or awkward. It was full. Too full. Like something had already happened that we couldn't name. He began noticing things no one else ever had. When I changed my lipstick, when I let my hair down, when I wore perfume for no one in particular, I kept pretending I was imagining it. Until one night, he said, "You don't need anyone else to see how beautiful you are." And my heart cracked open. The space between us kept narrowing. He'd sit close. Our knees would touch, and neither of us would move. One night he sat silently on my bed as I brushed my hair. I asked what he was thinking. He hesitated, then said, "I wish I could take all your pain away." He reached out, tucking a loose strand behind my ear. My breath caught. My chest ached. I didn't stop him. I didn't even flinch. Later that night, he knocked on my door, said he couldn't sleep, that he'd had a nightmare. I didn't ask why he came to me instead of just going back to bed. I simply let him in. He sat beside me in silence until he said, "I don't think I'll ever find anyone who sees me the way you do." I wanted to laugh it off, but nothing came out, just a broken breath. When he took my hand, I didn't pull away. When he leaned in, I didn't resist. His kiss was hesitant, trembling, an invitation I could have declined. But I didn't. It wasn't rushed, it wasn't lustful. It was soft and terrifying. It was comfort, need, the longing of two broken people who had nowhere else to place their pain. We didn't speak, Words would have ruined the quiet. We didn't go further, but we stayed like that until morning, him wrapped around me like a memory I didn't want to lose. The guilt didn't come instantly. What I felt was peace, and then the ache, the shame, but not of the moment, of how much I had needed it. I tried to distance myself. Shorter conversations, longer errands, less time at home. He noticed. Of course he did. And he backed away, giving me the space I couldn't ask for. Eventually, he told me he was going back to campus, earlier than planned. New apartment, new roommates. I didn't ask why, I already knew. That last night, he didn't say much, but before he left, he knocked on